off into the side lanes. With the Callista Fate's Call, there's a lot of CC chains you can set up in the side lanes. Yep. So they're more focused on the early game strategy, while JD Gaming are going towards the late game. They have the Corki, they have the Rise, and they also have a shoving bot lane as well. So JD Gaming actually doing a lot of changes. We've mentioned the win rate for late game champions on Yagao is actually just 0%. Yep. He's never won a game on Corki, Azir, or the Rise this split so far. They rely on him for early action, but this time around, JD Gaming are willing to make a risk. They're saying, you know what? We're going to match you in the late game. The early game, as long as our bot lane doesn't collapse, we're okay with it.
Look at Tian. I thought Tian was starting to pray there for a second, by the way. But I love how the LPL's been doing this. They've been looking at the split cams as Duumbi and Tian. And if you haven't tuned into FPX before and you don't know why this team finished first, well, this mid 2v2 duo is turning heads. In this composition, as we mentioned there before, you have an Olaf for the early pressure. We know how oppressive Morgana can be. And we always talk about the roaming capabilities here. Definitely here early for FPX. And with the bottom lane, the setup there from LWX and Chris' ability to get in for the fight early as well. We know that FPX are going to open this series up. So as we walk towards semi-finals, there is the backline question whether JDG's miracle run can continue here all the way to the grand finals as 8th seed. Or if FPX, as first, will come through and smash down their opponents in Jingdong Gaming. We welcome you to Summoner's Rift for our semi-finals.
I think the chants for Jingdong were just a little bit louder. We're still having the semi-finals here in Hangzhou in LGD's home arena. While JD Gaming do have their own arena, it is located in Beijing, but they have their manager.
Not this time.
Yeah, always making it feel like home court advantage for them. Pretty equal splits for both sides. We did see FPX going in for a cheeky level 1, but was spotted out by JD Gaming's wards. They're now going to clear that away. And we actually should see a small EXP lead for the bot lane as LWX picks up the ward.
As you take out the ward. To be noted here on the rune choices as FPX start off with the counter jungle is Duumbi is taking the Glacial Augment. We know that with this vertical style of jungling, how the bottom lane can be influenced and what Duumbi can do with this early oppressive rune. So I guess we start expecting to see that mid lane shoved out nice and early and the bottom lane focused at maybe a level 2 mark.
Yeah, so typically we do see the Airy because it's very easy to proc with your Tormented Soil, but this time, Joinby is thinking about the team fights. The Glacial Augment is going to allow you, especially with the Twin Ghosts, to close the distance on enemy compositions far easier. So that's probably the reason for the route choice. The other thing I would notice is LWX is going for Hail of Blades. Typically it is a split between Hail of Blades and Lethal Temple, with Lethal Temple being the better team fight one, but Hail of Blades much, much stronger in lane.
That's right. There's nothing to be noted as well that Tian's gone back to the old Predator Olaf. So it's been rare that we haven't seen Conqueror on this champion for a while. We know that the level 3 gank can be so potent, it just further accelerates that early game for FPX.
Yeah, they're getting a lot done in the bottom lane right now. Hitting level 2 before the opponent composition. They have the vertical jungle set up right now, so they should be very well aware of where Flawless is. You can see Gingun playing super safe in the top side. You should be okay for now. And JD Gaming, even though they have what should be the stronger bot lane, they can't do anything with it right now because there is Tian on that Olaf on their side of the map. They have to stay put.
Vision has finally expired in that bot side as well, so there's going to be an opportunity to start exploring down there soon for Tian. Floor still making his way through the enemy jungle and picking up the wolves right now, but will eventually have to make a decision whether it's top or mid. Duumbi already has the shove out as we expected here against Yagao on the Corki, but a pretty stale lane in the mid lane so far, while bot and top are just doing their thing.
And I just want to spend this lull in the action to explain why JD Gaming made it so far. I think a lot of it has to do with Coach Home, because Coach Home has read the matchups between his team and his opponents so well. Against WE, the entire series was about early game tempo. So JD Gaming drafted for that, they went out it, and they cut WE off before they reached their critical mass. For RNG, they knew that they wouldn't throw any resources top lane. They picked Kale, they picked Swain, they ran away with the mid-game team fights. So I think JD Gaming and Coach Home have always positioned themselves very well, very advantageous in the playoffs, and they're doing it once more in FPX. FPX's traditional weaknesses when they play with Doinby, or I should say the Doinby style is he typically doesn't provide enough damage in the late game, and you can try to outscale him. Look at JD Gaming's comp now. Corki and Rise going past 35 minutes. It's so hard to match that output from FPX's side, so they do have a very clear-cut win condition.
So for FPX, we know how they accelerate games. We know that it's going to be pretty stock standard here in this game as a must. But for JDG, coming back to Coach Home and how they've drafted this, Zoom in a very good position in the top lane. He's taken Comet into that matchup as well. So for FPX, they cannot doubt this top laner. They cannot doubt the jungle either, as Tien is getting frisky in front of Flawless's face. The Raptors will be started up here, but Tien looking to invade with Doinby now on the roam as well.
And this is the key thing we should pay attention to. Doinby is not able to leave lane. Yagao on the Corki is keeping him pinned down, so it's going to come down to Tien to actually free the Morgana up.
Oh,
FPX.
Hang on. Teleport's actually coming through here.
Yeah,
Tien's just bullying him out of lane.
Like FPX, they need to look for early action, and if Doinby himself cannot get it going, it is going to fall down to the Ola.
See, just pushing out the wave, accelerating fast there for Tien as he walks past the mid lane. Yagao uses the Valkyrie. Doinby threatens him down. Very good run and play here for the individuality. Yagao gets so low. Doinby just forces him out of lane. That's exactly what you want for FPX.
And JD Gaming, they will force the teleport out from Yagao this time around. It is a brief advantage here, so I think the key thing we should note is Tien's motion during that shove out. Look at the blue side jungle. He instantly went in, dropped 2 wards there. He knows where Flawless is going to be. And the key component to FPX's tower dives is knowing the enemy jungle position. Once they're on the top side of the map, they can do a straight 4v2 into the bot side.
And here we go, FPX doing what they do best. They've begun already. Doinby's hit level 6 as well off that last wave, so now with the Storm Shackles in hand, Glacial Augment is going to be impressive. He's also got the Double Dark Steel with Corrupting Potions available, so there's no way here that JDG, if they want to contest, will take the full-blown fight. So Mountain Dragon given over to FPX at the 6-minute mark here. Nice and early from Tien, already on the rock.
And this is just so smart from FPX, using the vertical jungle early, reversing the matchup in the bot side, and then just playing off the strength that they have there. It's just small windows that they use very well, forcing Yagao out, getting all the information on Flawless, transitioning into their strong side. So everything's still going to plan on FPX. However, their comp does have a timer, and I do want to see how they get Doinby, Morgana, a champion that doesn't have the best mobility, really going into these side lanes.
Because you're right in the fact that Doinby at the moment still even in CS, so there's no strict advantage. Going up against the Sheen from Yagao, it's going to start hurting in some of these trades if Doinby misses the Dark Binding, but Shove's still there. Chris, it's just so iconic. They do the same thing every game. Chris just walked up purely to get the shove off once again here for FPX. While the bottom lane's safe in LWX, he has a 10 CS lead over the lane that should be oppressive towards the Kalista.
And this is really dangerous for JD Gaming's bot lane. They're caught between a rock and a hard place. Do they shove out?
I mean, can they get the trade-off? There's a flash for a flash. So worth here for Gimgoon. He'll get shoved out, has the teleport in hand if he gets forced out of lane again, but Tien's going to take yet another blue buff off the side of Flawless.
Yeah, and if JD Gaming, they don't react to the bottom side, this is just going to be a straight all-in.
Hey, they might not even need the jungler at this point. Devour comes through, instant half health after one small trade, and Tien hasn't been spotted out here till Lumao comes in, taking undertow to the face. Licky Tongue will just get a trade off himself. Imp and Lumao forced back, while turret plating's available here for FPX.
Trading bot for top in this situation is definitely beneficial for FPX. They're forcing out the experience, and they're having this level 6 power spike timed up with LWX earlier on. If JD Gaming, if Imp and Lumao step forward, there's a very high chance they just get sniped out. However, they are willing to venture once they see Doinby showing back up in lane.
I think the damage is done though. Double turret plating here, 20 CS lead for the bottom lane.
It's a lot.
Gimgoon gonna lose one of his own, so Flawless coming up here is a must response for JDG. Gold is still even, but that's only for now, as Gimgoon will be able to remain here, even after spotting Flawless out and being behind 20 CS himself.
You don't really want to die the Kennen. I think that's the issue
with
right
level
here.
Level 6, definitely not.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of turret balancing to really keep both Zoom and Flawless alive at that time. So very smart pickup from FPX. They found something that was safe alone in the top side, and also the Slicing Maelstrom does hit minions. So even though Gimgoon is quite far behind right now.
God.
He's 30 plus CS behind.
Doesn't
FPX,
matter.
I feel like they have the tempo.
They really do. Tian's still down there. He's continued the vertical jungling, enable Doonby to get down here. As Lumao devours up Imp. He'll spin him back out with the Chains of Corruption. They're looking for the spawn. The flash spawn from Floors. He's finally down here with the Fates Call. Saves the day while 4 members are on the turret. They get another bit of turret plating, but they have to expend a couple of ultis just to get out of the situation while Flawless finally makes his visit bot side.
Yeah, that was a great rotation from Flawless. He showed himself in the top side, instantly transitioned bot just to ward off the aggression from FPX. So JD Gaming, they actually walk away with the gold lead after all of that.
Yep.
2 turret plating taken in the top side. They lose 2 themselves in the bot, but it doesn't matter. I think their jungler got a little bit more out of the trade. You see Flawless up in the CS currently, and they hold on to all of their objectives. Still on track for the scaling route.
Okay, so you see yourself with Flawless and a bit of hope there for the jungle of JDG. Top side, 20 CS lead itself, so just coming back to top versus bottom once again. That FPX has been playing so well towards. Tian still hovering around that mid as package was used by Yagao, so threat dismissed. Doonby will once again push out the lane, and we'll see what Chris can do in this lane as well.
This is so fun. You see the bot lane from both sides now starting to roam. This is where I say the JD gamble really starts to happen.
Yeah.
Numo loves to leave his lane. He loves to go for, I would say a lot of times, risky ventures into the enemy jungle, but this time there's a payoff.
Can they find Tian? Well, the Black Shield goes down. They actually might find the extent of the Dark Binding. Onto the Tahm Kench. Kim Goon being forced out after 4 members show to the top side. First turret going to be raised here, but I think this is actually JD's.
Yeah, they're so far ahead. They're 1 turret plating ahead, and that's going to be another bulwark in the bot side for them to deal with. So JD Gaming should be heads up for them.
So you go, hello Zoom, hello 40 CS advantage, and gold towards the top side, while FPX eventually get this, but it's going to be forced out as Chains of Corruption not yet available here as an ult comes down as well. FPX underneath the turret tank up, but here comes the surge down. They'll find one, they'll find the other one as well. Ulti eventually comes out of Imp, but it's too late. First 2 kills of the semifinals over to FPX.
And they didn't account for the teleports. JD Gaming's bot tower was something that they should have given up. They didn't have any teleports on their own side, but the bot lane still walked upright there. So FPX had a clear lead. They were not going to contest the top side. They were going to go instantly for the bottom. They pick up the 2 kills plus the Drake. I have to say favorable trade for FPX.
You're going early game versus late game here in this first game, and FPX have it under control, under lock and key. Tian picks up a double mountain here for FPX, so although that FPX will get outscaled eventually, you look at how these team fights can come through and be outplayed and how JDG could get misled.
Yeah, so I think the key play here is that JD Gaming thought that they had Yagao coming in first. Even though they didn't have the teleports in the solo lanes, they were banking on the Corki to come in and play a 3v4. That didn't happen. They probably mistimed that. So FPX, just with the double teleports, throwing things and getting their solo laners into the fight much earlier there.
Really smart timing as well. They knew that Yagao's package had just expired in that mid lane, so props to Doonby for making that assumption that the rotation couldn't come through. He's actually even in the mid lane, but that's not what you're looking at. You're going bottom versus top once again, and Zoom almost with a 1k gold lead, just like LWX and Chris.
Double Mountain Drake as well. FPX, they found their key to accelerating the game. It was pretty much given to them in terms of the objectives. And now it's JD Gaming in a scramble to try and trade back to open the map up and at least give them more long lanes that they can try to freeze, to farm up, to go later into the game. It actually favors them if they have a more open map. If there's longer lanes, it's harder for FPX to really find those tower dives that they're really well known for. So they're not trying to defend in a risky position, they're just trying to trade things off.
But living in the here and now, I mean, there's 2 turrets being hit at and chipped away. Tian leaves the solo gold up to LWX, who is accelerating even faster. Imp's going to get the same treatment, but while the mid lane is getting hit by FPX, this is going to be rough because Redemption's now available for Tian, so if JDG want to contest this, it is going to be a massive fight.
Ooh, Yagao gets tagged up by the Dark Binding, loses a lot of his HP right there.
Oh, Yagao almost dies just under the Tormented Shadows. Missile Barrage is starting to come out, but 3 gold still over to Tian and the rest of the crew, and Doonby threatening out of the lane.
Great poke damage coming out from Doinby, really forcing out. And I think Zoom's going to get attacked by that.
He did. He thought he was on the edge, maybe not even watching. That's the redemption from TNUs. But to keep Zoom there, JDG should lose a little bit more after the turret.
Great outplay coming out from FPX. So that's going to be a 2-for-1 tower trade that they do accelerate the game even further with.
Yeah.
All outer towers, aside from FPX's mid lane, of course, are now down on the map. FPX, that should guarantee that Doinby is the first one arriving to these fights. They can always push past River far easier, and JD Gaming have to be on their toes.
You have to be, because Gimgoon's picked up 2 kills now as well, where the top lane for Zoom was just such an accelerated advantage. Now for the Rise, he's going up against an even gold Kennen with Protobelt, who has ulti available, who doesn't have the TP, but is heading towards that mid lane as Rift Herald has been summoned to break down this mid outer turret, but they can't do it. Rift Herald will simply get the charge, and FPX move faster.
Very risky situation for JD Gaming to push forward, even though Gimgoon does not have the teleport. It's just one dark binding, and a lot of things can go sideways from there. They just get the single charge on the Rift Herald and back off from there. Looking at the gold lead, especially from the bot side, it's quite substantial. Looking at 1,400 gold, that's over a BF sword in advantages for LWX. He should be dominating these later fights. Luckily enough for JD Gaming, at least the next Drake is not an Inferno.
Clement, I think that's a first here for the LPL, or maybe any region at that. Feel free to quote me. 2,400, all turret plating across the map.
That's a full house.
FPX. That's when you know that the early game of FPX is what teams fit.
Rotated so well across the map. They traded up in the objectives. They played around their bot side. That should have been a losing 2v2 matchup to get those Mountain Drakes early. So all of the game plans, all the early planning does come ahead for FPX. But JD Gaming aren't that far behind, though. I think that's a key thing to notice. They actually did not give up that many kills. Usually in the tower dives, if you give up kills, it's a huge thing, because you lose turret plating, you lose the CS denial that the other teams can effect on you. But this time, they only dropped the 2 in the bottom side. They're still in a very close running, and I think FPX are finding it quite difficult to deal with the side lane split push of Zoom at this point.
Yeah, they really are. Zoom should be heading towards that second item as well, so it's only going to get harder from here. Blasting one picked up, so expect to see a Banshee's Veil coming second here for the Rise against the Kennen. Going to be pretty annoying to deal with in those fights. Well, Gimgoon just has to keep on that pace, make sure he can catch up in some CS and be just as relevant as Zoom.
Yao is going to get spotted out, but he does have a good flanking position here. You can see FPX members scattering to the wind. They also have Rise coming into the fray. So this next Drake, I think for FPX, this next Drake is not 100% something they need to contest.
Playing precariously, Tien, just walking up to the water, trying to stop them back there from Lurmouth. Doinby with a hose will stop any further engagement as Yagao, you mentioned, had the package, had a good flank, had a good angle. Still does through this mid lane with Cloud Dragon. Going to be up and ready and started here by JDG.
And if you look at the position from LWX, he's still nowhere near the fight. If JD Gaming really want to press it, I think they should be able to.
Doinby trying to steal it with the binding. Tier comes in with the undertow, but Smite does secure it. Well, this is the flank, Clement. Onto 2, onto 3. The fight kindly comes through as FPX has the better position. Chris takes up the front line and Yagao can't get back in. Lumao goes gold, but they've already taken him down. Yagao falls at him. They're out of the fight while Zoom just has to run. Chris goes over the wall with the base ball. The binding doesn't land as Chris is going to take another auto. Yagao snipes him through. Flawless goes golden. LWX and Tier get caught out. That's a double for Yagao. That's 2 more for Doinby. LWX and Gimgoon have to get out. The mid lane is already dead. The rail warp in from Zoom. It's a messy fight as LWX will be the last one to crash here. Gimgoon is out as well, and I'm not even sure what happened, but I can tell you there was bloodshed.
Yeah, that was a really close team fight from both teams, and I think what happened is that the initial engage from Gimgoon, he tried to focus down the bottom lane from JD Gaming, and that part of the map actually got out fine. You could see that there was a lot of initial damage going that way. They didn't find the early kill straight off the bat, and that gave Yagao so much time to deal damage. You can see him going down towards the bot side. Imp does manage to flash away, and they don't find the first kill initially. They have to focus the support. That's always a bad position, and Yagao is just left to his own devices. He's dealing so much damage. 2 ultimates missing there from FPX. Doinby doesn't find these soul shackles, and neither does the Fate Call actually land a hard CC. This is a playground for Yagao. The solo laners of JD Gaming, the Dumpling Brother duo, just hammering it home against FPX.
10 flashes burnt in that fight. Everyone saved it for that one engage, and that's how it explodes. For JDG, we talked about how the advantage was going towards FPX with tempo, but this late game composition that you described, Clement, now for JDG being even at this point is such a good sight.
It looks very possible at this point, and we're seeing that the number of team fights each side takes. JD Gaming leads the LPL at second place. I shouldn't say lead, actually, but 3.54 team fights played. They are the masters of mid-game chaos.
Yeah.
They know how to deal with unexpected turbulence coming from every which way, and that was a great flash from Imp. Imp took himself out of the ramp, flashing, willing to split the team up, which is quite rare for teams. They usually want to back in the same direction. But flashing toward Yagao was a very smart choice in that team fight. And FPX's bottom side, after the initial push from FPX, JD Gaming's bottom side, after the initial engage from FPX, is able to punch back.
They really are. Because look at LWX, look what he's optimized him for. He knew how far ahead he was and went for the wit's end on Kalista. Now, rare that we see this item choice instead of, you know, heading towards maybe the Zeal item, maybe towards something else. At the moment for LWX, let's see how that develops, because he's still ahead in the lane, but you just saw Yagao and Doomby there as well. Butting heads. 2-item Morgana, 2-item Corki this early on, though. JDG putting faith in Yagao here for the first time, I'd say, in playoffs.
They're surging ahead with this team composition, and they're going to transition into a 1-3-1. I think they have a lot of potential with that composition.
Yeah.
They can have Zoom and Yagao in the side lanes with Ryze and Corki, and it's very easy to transition with Abyssal Voyage coming in from the mid lane. So this is the phase where JD Gaming, even though they're still behind in the objectives, they can start to control the lanes, start to control the map. I think FPX are going to have a hard time unless they go for all-in initiations to stem the 1-3-1 from JD.
Should be pretty easy from Doomby. I mean, he's at a good item point here with the Mystic Shadows picked up. Now a Spooky Ghost to be sent out. Baron's coming up as well, and a third Mountain. So a lot of choices here for FPX, despite what the last fight entailed. Cloud for JDG picked up before, and that's going to mean a little bit, but not too much if FPX start up the Baron, and at 20 minutes, here they go.
It is spotted, however. Now, JD Gaming does have the teleport coming in from Zoom.
Goes down so quick, though. FPX disengage while looking for the binding. Onto Lumao, it lands for JDG. They have the front line available at that point, so FPX just back away from the Baron and regroup for Mountain.
That was a really good blue side trinket coming in from JD Gaming. They definitely were aware of the possibility of an early Baron being snuck. They spotted it immediately when FPX started it, and now they're actually going to see Tin backing off the map as well. So we actually see a proactive teleport coming in just to secure the third Mountain break. You don't want to give that over to FPX.
No way.
That already have two.
Even knocking away at this turret helps ensure that as well. For FPX, getting into their red side jungle is now such a dangerous task, but to threaten the third Mountain versus the Baron from FPX, I like the tempo play here. Continuing to push forward, and now they threaten after pushing the mid lane wave. Get ready, because it's going to be a fight for Mountain or Baron, and JDG have to make the call.
I think the Dumpling duo is actually out of position. Zoom was so late on the rotation. He wanted to shove that wave fully in, and he doesn't have a teleport.
And they find the slope from Doomby. The binding doesn't land onto Imp, but maybe the damage will be enough here. Force looking for the steal. They're going to play the 50-50 Baron. Redemption does come down. Baron at 2k. Force gets knocked up. Here comes the face call. They're still on Baron. They secure it. Baron over to FPX. First kill as well. They get the Brom, but the lightning surge to come through. Gimgoon wasted his ulti as Yagao. He was the only one to pick up a kill. Everyone from FPX are out until LWX sees that Yagao flashes. He needs to turn onto Imp. The Kalista. Golden is Imp, though. His chances negated as Yagao will just auto him to death. Second kill for JDG, but at the cost of that big purple worm.
2 for 1 in JD Gaming's favor. However, like you mentioned, FPX did secure the Baron, so I have to give the advantage towards FPX. They wanted to find a decisive team fight right then and now. They didn't really get it, but at the very least, they're not going to get 1-3-1 pushed in. They have the wave control right now. Just taking a look at the fight, really good find on LWX. He does get the Ren even after the flash from the red side. Does get flawless, and also a great Fate's call onto Imp, forcing the Devour early. I think Gimgoon, even though the Slicing Maelstrom did not hit anyone, it was more of a defensive maneuver, and it did allow the team to get away with only 2 deaths. So
very well said.
I think that's that's a pretty good trade overall for FPX. They did lose the team fight in terms of the heads, the kills, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, for JDG as well, you're happy that you've just taken away the third Mountain, and I'm surprised how quickly FPX actually reset to contest that, but not finding it, denied, again, from JDG. Gold's still quite even, so while we see the Baron, we need to see, again, that key word here in this series, tempo from FPX to break open at least an inhibitor turret to make sure that JDG gets shut down before they begin.
And the graph we're seeing right now is just showing the Baron control rate coming out from FPX. Number 1 in the LPL at 69.4%.
Nice.
Close to 70. They almost always get the Baron.
I don't mind that.
I think FPX really need to force a full-on team fight before the 30-minute mark.
They might have found Yagao and Force who have to scurry over the wall. Now, you mentioned team fight, Clement, exactly right. For JDG, getting engaged on here is such a threat. Look at the top side of the map. Either FPX stay here, they follow up, it doesn't matter, but JDG, again, they're forced to make a decision.
The best scenario for FPX is really to find team members in rotation. They have so much catch potential. Look at Doinby's items. He's Glacial Augment and he has double slows just in the Icy Hose and the Twin Ghost. So they're trying to force JD Gaming to rotate towards the top side, but JD Gaming are staying still.
Hey, look where Gimgoon's coming though, Clement. I want you to take a look because the cannon's coming in for a flank. JDG spotting this one out, but they're still sandwiched between. They find their jungler at half health, so FPX can't go any further. But Baron Buff has now taken 2 turrets here for FPX. Gold lead, Inners down. Still no inhibitor, 45 seconds left to go. Doesn't look like FPX will be able to achieve that with this Baron alone.
Yeah, so 2 towers taken by FPX. I actually really like what JD Gaming did there. They stood their ground and tried to look for the 5v4 team fight, but unfortunately for them, Doinby was too accurate. Flawless took a bunch of damage. They knew they couldn't walk in with a cannon coming from behind, so they had to back out. Not a successful defense. They do lose 2 towers in that push. But I like the idea. The idea was definitely there. They knew FPX was looking for a team fight. They were willing to play a bit risky for the 4v5 in that situation. So JD Gaming tried to go in, tried to meet them on the field there.
You can see why. You definitely see why. You've almost got your Gout 3 items. You've got a Fed Rise as well. So the Dumpling Brothers strike again here in game number 1, or at least they are going to the longer this game goes on. For Doinby, great position for Gimgoon after the start that it was, and the CS advantage that he does not have. Almost 3 items there for the Cannon 2, so team fight priority still looks to be in the favor of FPX with Kalista now with the Gwinsu's Rage Blade. So there is a lot of hopping to be coming out of LWX in this next fight.
I have to say, I think it's actually switched over to JD Gaming's side right now. 4-0-2, critical mass on Corki. 3 items, already has a 50% crit ready. I have to favor JD Gaming in these team fights. I don't think the gold lead actually matters much. Now what FPX do have is that they have better catch potential. If you look at their items, they're not pure stat items, they're more about utility items. So you have to deduce some of that gold if it comes to a straight 5v5. And this is so smart by Coach Home. You have to remember, these 2 champions, Rise and Corki for JD Gaming, they have a combined 0% win rate. And that's over 10 tries.
That's right.
And Coach Home is like, you know what? I'm still going to pick this. It's because of the matchup. FPX actually lack the raw damage potential in the late game. So if we pick this way, I don't care about a regular split. I know we didn't do very well on these champions. It doesn't matter. This matchup specifically, we should go late game. That's so ballsy.
With how Zoom's playing, you're like, you know what? Now's the time to bring it back. You know, we're feeling so good, and we keep bringing up Coach Home because of the job he's doing here on JDG. We said it before, it's the miracle run for this team. First it was WE, next it was RNG. I mean, we've almost gone to a Game 5 against WE. We almost went the distance there as well. But JDG have been through so many games here in playoffs alone that for FPX, you'd be fearing the run that they've already had, and especially in this first game. If JDG get off with a bang like they did against WE, who knows where this could go.
FPX were on high alert. When I interviewed Doinby, they were not expecting JD Gaming to come out of the lower bracket. They're like, well, we thought it might be WE, might be RNG, but we didn't expect JD Gaming to actually be the dark horse of the playoff and make it this far. So they probably have to scramble to get their strategy together.
Oh, scrambling at FPX at the moment, though. So JDG trying to force them out. Chris almost caught out. Puts up the door, and FPX just trying to clear the wave so they can get ready for this next Baron. Tin and Gimgoon in a great position for a flank, but this side brush has wards in it that Doinby is not going to clear. Instead, crosses over towards the pixel brush and wants JDG to make the move.
And I think the key thing here is to really notice where Zoom is standing in this team fights. He could Realm Warp to the backline and just try to take down Kalista. Oh, he's going for it.
Okay, do we see the Realm Warp into the pit? Well, if you can take down Kalista, yes, maybe. JDG, there's a slicing Maelstrom! Oh my lord! You insane animal, Gimgoon. Flawless can't hope to save himself. The fight's already over. Get Zoom out of here as well. Get him walking, because Gimgoon on cannon is now an electricity of damage.
That was insane. 4 people caught in the slicing maelstrom instantly wipes JD Gaming. That was the entire team gone in an instant. JD Gaming could not hold their front line apart. They needed Yagao to poke for the extra damage. None of that really happened. It was all on Gimgoon's back. He came in from a blind spot on JD Gaming. They didn't have wards in that brush. They didn't even need to use the Fate's Call for that, which is super surprising. Gimgoon just, oh my god, just shock therapy for JD Gaming.
So lucky he wasn't caught in that as well. There's still a testament to how JDG approached that fight, but Gimgoon's flanks need to be feared, and them clearing out the top side vision enabled the fight and now enable the Baron. FPX in the driver's seat once again.
They improved their gold lead up to 5,000. Before that, they were hanging on to just 1K against a scaling team composition of JD Gaming. They're like, we need a decisive team fight right now.
Yeah.
I really like how FPX were playing the macro game. They knew they didn't want to go late, so they were continuously forcing the Baron, forcing JD Gaming to come to them, and they finally find the pick. This is the 3rd Baron try that they've had so far, and out of the blind spot, they find JD Gaming's Achilles heel. They just shock them all to death.
Clement, it doesn't matter how late we go. Gimgoon can always hit that fight if he gets the right flank off. So while FPX may be in a devastating position in 10, 20 minutes if we go that far, the possibility of this is always there as JDG get blindsided.
Yep, Gimgoon clears the ward, instantly flashes in. I'm sorry, that was actually all 5 members. It wasn't even 4, it was 5. The CC chain was disgusting. You have the Glacial Fissure going down with the Soul Shackle following up as well. Everyone's just dead.
Man, you know what, Clement? I'll apologize with you. I call it a flank. Really, a flash over the wall's not a flank. That was just Gimgoon going, come at me. So, impressive power play from the FPX top laner in Gimgoon, who's now level 16, has the Void Staff. There's an unneedlessly large rod in his inventory as well. So, Gimgoon in a very good position. So, are FPX. Now, can they break that inhibitor with the Baron buff while Gimgoon's not there with teleport available?
It's really about if JD Gaming can hold on during this Baron buff timer. The Elder Dragon is also coming up within 4 minutes, so we can see FBX actually have a very good transition from pushing all of the side waves, denying the 1-3-1, and then straight fight looking for another team fight right at Elder Dragon. So JD Gaming, they're looking at a quite unfortunate clock, I have to say. Like, the things are just lining up for FPX to make this work.
It really are. Yagao been caught out here, he's been slowed down away with the package. Of course you have to. Doomby still a menace, got 17 stacks on the Magi, so if you get caught, the damage comes down. This is just easy front from Yagao. Takes 0 damage in response and saves the inhibitor turret.
That's insane. That was a Cinder Hulk and Gargoyle play Olaf, and he's still almost half health in just 2 auto attacks. That's the power of the late game Corki, and this is why this matchup is so exhilarating. FPX is trying to do it early. JD Gaming with Coach home, they know how they have to draft late. They're giving themselves a win condition.
Oh, but they finally found Yagao. Here comes the ulti, devoured up there by Lumao as they just jump straight forward. Fate's Call into the side. Where does he get used? Chris sacrificing his life as they've already picked him up, but Imp is slowed down with GA not to be popped. Redemption doesn't heal them up. In fact, it's from the JDG side. 5 members alive. Here comes the Realm Warp. Who's in it? Well, the slicing Maelstrom to deny it. Teleport to come back in, but JDG, I fear it's too late as FPX gets dangerously low. Imp is denied. He's there to get the kill, and the GA will be worth it. You compliment that teleport from Imp because that might have just saved the game.
Yeah, so a 2-for-1 trade, and they finally waste a lot of time from FPX's Baron buff. They defend their own inhibitor, and that's so crucial. That means they have a say when it comes to the Elder Dragon. It's going to come up pretty soon, and you don't really want to have a bot lane with super minions to deal with while you're looking at that Elder Drake. So I think the key point here is that FPX actually went in too far just to get the flawless kill. They do find the Dark Binding here, but probably not the Fate's Call that they were looking for going in on Flawless himself. And this is so well played by Imp. Imp is low health, he actually goes back and uses the teleport to catch the team back in. Oh, that was so risky on so many levels, but he does manage to make it work. They lose Flawless, but they do defend, and they do find the kill onto Gimgoon, which should be a big shutdown.
Yeah, it really was. 3 items on Imp already, so We'll see that the Elixir of Bloodlust, or whatever you want to call it, is in the inventory. Bloodlust it was there for Imp, who against LWX is still down in items, but the Varus moving into the late game stage with now a Hex Drinker picked up is always good news. We'll take stock of the other items because I know we'll have a bit of a lull. We've got a Rabadon's Death Cap from Doomby, so the item Power Spike starting to come through, and I say that because the Rabadon's at this stage of the game is huge. But had they just found Zoom, we'll take pause again, because Tian's just running right into the rise. His level 16 is going to be locked down as Ragnarok to come through. Redemption as well. Zoom is surviving for now. Everyone's committing to this play. Zoom will eventually die. Not able to take anyone with him. And that for FPX is a pick-off a minute 20 before Baron.
And they didn't have to use much for that. No ultimates burned aside from the Ragnarok, so this should be inhibitor before the Elder Drake comes up. Yep. That's a play FPX should be going for right now.
Okay, so inhibitor to break open the game even further. Doesn't matter about FPX. They're always going to look for the ingenious play. Ingenuity of FPX never to be underestimated. Still with a 5k gold lead at 34 minutes in the game. You mentioned it before, the Elder Dragon up in a minute. Choices here for FPX.
There's a lot of ways to actually play this out. There's a double objective scenario here, and looking at the teleports, FPX actually has triple teleports up for this fight compared to only 2 on the side for JD Gaming. Yeah. So what they could do is actually go for one objective and still try to defend the other one at the same time. Remember, they do have double Mountain Drakes, so they can finish those objectives insanely fast and then still travel to defend the other one. So I actually think FPX should position themselves for Baron and be ready to just all teleport, all use their mobility and get towards the Elder Drake.
It shows you how for JDG though, they're still able to deny the positioning here off of FPX. I mean, Yagal's just by himself with almost 5-6 items now. We're getting to the point where the Corki is unbeatable as we'll be trying to find flaws in the pit, not meant to be. A lot more threat here in the damage output of Yagal rather than Doomby, but we'll see, because if he gets caught out like he is now, Chris can just find him and force him away with the Valkyrie. That means the mid lane's open. That means both neutral objectives are now on the cards as they head into the river.
FPX contesting both at the same time. They don't want JD Gaming to walk away with one.
They're not. They miss If. That was close. Chris jumps forward for the quick concussive blow, but might be caught out in the realm warp used by Zoom to threaten them off. That would have been a dead 80 carry. Very close call.
That was inches away from FPX taking double objectives right there. Imp did not have the flash available.
Yep.
And really close call. I believe they used the Devour earlier on Yagao as well. So if that landed, it would have been a dead 80
Okay, here's the race though, because there's a double mountain, remember. Everyone from JDG onto the Baron. FPX not going anywhere near it. They've sent their 80 carry to Elder while JDG pick up that said Baron. It's going down so fast with LWX and the double attack speed item. It's gone. Now, it's the fight that FPX are looking for.
Yeah, they didn't want to contest the Baron as Doinby just expended his flash to try and get that catch. Didn't really work out for them there. Imp manages to walk away. And for this trade, I feel like this is finally JD Gaming getting back on track with their 1-3-1. Look at where Zoom is sitting at the CS department right now. Already at the flame horizon, up 100 CS. There's no way Gimgoon can do anything with him on the side lane. All JD Gaming need to do is just avoid the team fight. They've almost been caught out multiple times in just that last minute. But if they can avoid the team fights, get the wave control and stabilize this game, I do favor JD Gaming post 35 minutes.
Yeah. I think we've been saying all game long at how good JDG would be at this point of the game and how we would get to this point especially. FPX's early game was so punishing and how the vertical jungling started and continued on so long for TN. There's been a definite focus around the mid, around the bottom lane like we talked about in Champ Select. It's just about getting to this point and Gimgoon just sitting in base with teleport available. He's not moving. Sitting there waiting maybe for the Rabadon's death cap to that final item or maybe just to pull the trigger close to now.
He's waiting for JD Gaming to overstep. They have wards in the blue side jungle. But seeing that JD Gaming wants to stay bundled together, he's going to just take a trot into the top side.
Yeah.
Pick up that CS, get that wave in.
So he'll move to the top side now, as you just mentioned. Elder's still there for another minute. Baron buff for 50 seconds longer. When do FPX strike? Because they're still waiting for someone like Flawless who is not going to walk blindsided into the Axe.
This is really rare from JD Gaming. Remember, JD are more of an early game, a hectic team fight style of team, but right now they have the patience to hold on to their abilities. They're waiting out the Elder Dragon like you were just talking about, and they know once that goes off, they still have the Baron buff to push the waves off then. They're not in a hurry.
Hang on, you gal too far forward. Thank you for the Devour Loom out, but as he spits him out, the support might give his life. Ragnarok down. Doomby gets the kill, and now in a 4 versus 5. Elder's still got 20 seconds.
They could actually just finish the game off the single push. Like, this is very
such
dangerous.
A big timer for Lumao, you're right. The FPX continue forward. Well, Elder is going to expire in 10 seconds here, Clement. Doomy looking for the binding, misses onto Yagal. They get a concussive blow with the Winter's Bite. Now for JDG underneath the Nexus Turrets. Redemption's coming down. The hose out. They find him. The damage is there. He ultis out, but with the GA up and available as he comes back in. Can he survive? Here comes the ulti from Gimgoon again. Front to back, easy as that, but JDG, the damage is still there as LWX walks into the fountain. That's it, Clement. You are darn right. FPX are just so powerful in the full-on fight. Gimgoon's done enough, he's already low. He'll get out of there. LWX with a million bits of attack speed. Clean house as well. And FPX denying the miracle run in game number 1 as LWX strikes true with the triple.